Welcome to the Gay Catholic Hour, a program of news, entertainment, healing, and affirmation brought to you by Dignity New York, an organization serving marginalized Catholics since 1972.
The women and men of Dignity want you to feel right at home, no matter what your sexual orientation: lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, or straight.
We are all God's children. Hour, a production of Dignity New York. I'm Chris Cappiello.
And I'm Kathy Carter. We'll be your host for tonight's program. You were just looking at some footage from the 1998 Gay Pride Parade down Fifth Avenue.
And June is Gay Pride Month,
Yes, it
so
is.
we'll have several announcements throughout the show tonight
Yes.
about upcoming events of interest to GLBT people of faith and their friends and their family and lots of other people.
Whoever else. So, you want to grab a pencil and someone to write on?
But first, we want to take a look at some video from the first Gay and Lesbian Memorial Day, hosted on May 6th by Congregation Beth Simchat Torah, the Church of the Holy Apostles, and the Spiritual Rainbow, an interdenominational group of GLBT people of faith, of which Dignity is a proud and active member.
So, let's go to the videotape and get those pencils ready.
I am indeed delighted to be a co-sponsor and participant in this first annual Memorial Day for the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender community. I'm certainly thrilled to be able to work with Congregation Beth Simchat Torah, International Association of Lesbian and Gay Children of Holocaust Survivors, and the Church of the Holy Apostles, as well as so many dedicated co-sponsors. I would especially like to thank Rick Landman, who has worked so very hard to put this event together tonight, along with so many others of you, and who reached out to me to invite me to participate. I very much appreciate that. We joined together because we recognize that violence against the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender communities remains a very serious problem. We join together today because we know that it is imperative that we remember the history behind those attacks and ensure that we never allow events like the Holocaust to ever happen again. The systemic persecution against gay men and lesbians under the Nazi regime and the destruction of the renowned Institute of Sexual Sciences led by Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld in 1933 set back the movement for sexual equality decades. Only with the organizing of the Manichaean organization, the Daughters of Belias, and the subsequent Stonewall Rebellion, the 30th anniversary of which we celebrate this year, did the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community find a chance to reassert itself and achieve equality.
We pause to remember those past generations of gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people who lost their lives due to bigotry, hatred, and ignorance. May the memories of those whom we lovingly recall tonight inspire us to be ourselves and lead lives worth remembering, our thoughts turn to those who were murdered, those martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked and whose names are no longer known. As we remember them, let us meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death.
We promise tonight in the words of Ruth, even death shall not part us from them. Their names are established over our inheritance from them. The names of the dead shall not be cut off from among us. In every generation, people have murdered God's children because they were deemed to be different. Throughout history, we have suffered in fear and silence as gays, lesbians, bisexuals, and transgender people were beaten, murdered, or succumbed to their own weakness. The time has come for us to change the future by remembering and memorializing these deaths with proper respect.
So, Chris, since we've last been gone, you
We have
can
a
see
guest.
what I've been up to. Somebody wants their mommy tonight, so we're going to try and do this with Kid in tow.
All right.
What have you been up to?
Well, nothing nearly so exciting, but in mid-May I did go to Buffalo to represent Dignity New York at a meeting of the Northeast region of Dignity USA.
Wow.
As many of our viewers know, Dignity is a national organization with chapters in most major cities. And this was a meeting of representatives from the Northeast chapters. And Dignity also has, every 2 years, a national convention, as you know.
Wow.
This is a convention year, and this summer the convention will be in Denver, Colorado.
Wow.
Early August.
Fancy. And
many-
you're going to that?
I'm going to that, baby.
Oh, my goodness.
Many great speakers. Bishop Gumbleton will be there. Marianne Duddy, former president of Dignity, will be speaking. As well as David Mixner, the political activist and former friend of Bill Clinton. So if you're a member of Dignity, you probably have received your package on the convention already. But if not, you can access our website at www.dignityusa.org or call the 800 number on the screen.
Right, and as we mentioned before, there are lots of local going on that I'm sure our viewers will be interested in.
So I hope you have some lead in that pencil, because here goes.
Well, on this Saturday, June 12th, Congregation Beth Simchat Torah, New York's Gay and Lesbian Synagogue, will be hosting a pride dance. It's at the Church of the Holy Apostle, 9th Avenue and 28th Street. Everyone is welcome. The dance begins at about 9 o'clock. For more information, you can call CBST at 212-929-9498. That number again is 212-929-9498.
And if you have recovered from the dance by Monday, June 14th,
Yes.
you can go to the Lesbian and Gay Fellowship Group at Marble Collegiate Church, who is co-hosting with the Spiritual Rainbow a reaffirmation ceremony. And the ceremony will be followed by music and a social. Keynote speaker at the event is the Reverend Barbara C. Racknich, who's the corner of Avenue West 9th Street in Trenton. 7 is 212-686-2770.
And we will have more announcements a little later. But first, we'd like to show you some scenes from Dignity's 1999 Good Friday service, which we haven't had a chance to show you yet. Kathleen Connell was our guest homilist, and I'm sure she'll have some interesting things to say.
We'll begin, though, with some footage of a reflection in front of the church that night on Good Friday that was offered by Vinnie Maniscalco.
A vital member of the Gay Catholic Hour
Hey, Vinnie.
and a member of our crew.
Christ was targeted by those who hated him because he dared to be different. He dared to speak the truth. He dared to challenge the status quo and preach of love, tolerance, acceptance for all, regardless of who they are. Christ was the victim of a hate crime. The Book of Hope talks about Jesus as our supreme example of God in human form. He took the identity of a slave, refusing to cling to his privileges as God. Jesus experienced hunger and endured sorrow. He grew tired and felt the sting of loneliness. He felt the pressure of temptation. For these reasons, we can be assured that God understands what we are going through in life. Our desire to love incites someone else's desire to hate. The first reaction many of us would have to hate, particularly when it results in violent acts, is to plead for justice. And while most would agree that a sense of justice must prevail, is it not perhaps more important to respond in a manner that truly reflects the example Jesus set for us?
That the one whom we call the best human being, the Son of God, was judged in his own time to be the major problem. And the fact that that is the case says something very scary about human history and about human consciousness and our ability, or lack of it, to recognize goodness and truth. That humankind seems to feel the need to attack and kill the very thing which would transform it. And this is not some secondary issue. This is the pattern of human behavior. And this might be, Ross says, why we have this strange God figure of a naked, bleeding man on a cross. God, in Jesus, visualized the pattern so that we could see it. Scripture scholars tell us that the early Gospels were simply passion accounts. So it seems that the cross is all that we really need to get. The cross is the pattern of how transformation occurs. It's the pattern of how people are enlightened. It seems to be the exact opposite of what we would do if left to our own human wisdom. 20 centuries later, Jesus' disciples are still fighting the message. What we have done in history, we have scapegoated Muslims, Jews, Christian denominations other than our own, homosexuals, women, the list is endless. One of the great tragedies of religion is violence. One of the safest ways, Ross says, to be a hateful, violent, accusing, blaming person is to be religious. Because when you can do it you don't need to feel guilty. You know that too well. It seems to me that the questions that the followers of Jesus, dare we say the church, needs to ask itself today is whether or not we are being transformed into God, or whether we're using God to maintain our ego superiority, our own need to be right, to be in control, to be better than others. Can we identify at all with Paul on his way to Damascus and see that in God's name, we too, at least on occasion, have become hate? What we're dealing with here is the quagmire of the contemplative mind versus the calculative mind. Only the contemplative mind can ask itself that humbling question. Ross says the logic of the calculative mind can only create constant new dualisms of right, wrong, good, bad, either or. We are stuck in a loop. Our both and vision of the contemplative mind creates anxiety in us. Those of us who have been born into and indoctrinated by the system of the calculative mind, which sees everything as right and wrong. And if there's anything that we addicted Americans know well, it's that we will do anything to avoid feeling anxious. Drugs, alcohol, sex, sugar. And still, the way out of this is through the contemplative mind. Remember, before Jesus showed us how to be transformed, he first showed us how to develop the capacity to say yes. He taught us how to pray and modeled for us the need to go off alone and to do it. There is no transformation, there is no carrying of the cross without prayer as an integral part of our life. And as we grow in prayer, we grow in our capacity to take a more contemplative view of things. Instead of looking for the right side of the either or, The contemplative mind suggests the possibility of a third way of seeing things. The Gospels teach us the vision of this third way. What if we really started to act as the Gospel vision?
Moving right along with the show, we have a few announcements before the segment. As we mentioned, Dignity New York, an active member of Spiritual Rainbow, an ecumenical and gay and welcoming congregations in the city.
Thursday, June 4th at Integrity, New York, at St. Peter's Church on West 20th Street between 8th and 9th Avenues. You're going to go to that? No. The Reverend Jack Cronenberger, Bishop Coadjutor of the Diocese of Newark, will be celebrating Mass with Reverend Paul Woodrum. For more information, you can contact Integrity at 212-691-7181. Again, that number is 212-691-7181.
It is big word night now, isn't
It
it?
is. I can't do those Episcopalian words.
Congregation Beth Simchat Torah, the Gay and Lesbian Synagogue, will be holding a Pride Shabbat on Friday, June 25th at 8 p.m. at the Ethical Culture Society on Central Park West. The keynote speaker will be New York City Controller Alan Hevesy. Please call 212-929-9498 for more information on this and CBST's other Pride events. That number again is 212-929-9498.
And, of course, Dignity New York is celebrating with our
Absolutely.
own special annual Pride Mass.
Yes.
This year, once again, the Church of St. Mary the Virgin has welcomed us back to their beautiful sanctuary in the heart of the Theater District. The homily this year will be given by former Dignity USA President Marianne Duddy.
She's wonderful.
We've seen Marianne often on the
Yeah.
Gay Catholic Hour.
Yeah.
Mass will begin at 7 p.m. on Saturday, June 26th. The Church of St. Mary the Virgin, a.k.a. Smoky Mary's, is located on West 46th Street between 6th and 7th Avenues. For more information on this great event, you can call the Dignity office at 212-627-6488. We'll show that number on the screen at the end of the show, or you can email us at dignityny@aol.com.
We are so high tech.
We are with it.
Most of the Spiritual Rainbow members, including Dignity New York, Maranatha, Park Avenue Christian Church, MCC, and St. Clement's, will be celebrating with special services on Sunday, June 27th, my birthday,
Yay.
and the day of our Gay Pride Parade. For additional information, you can contact the Dignity office at the number which will appear at the end of the program.
Always happy to arrange a parade for your birthday.
Well, you know.
One of the newer members of the Spiritual Rainbow is Al-Fatiha, a support group for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgendered Muslims.
Wow.
Recently, our roving reporter, Will Berger, roved his way to an international conference held here in New York by Al-Fatiha over Memorial Day weekend. Let's take a look.
We shall.
Hello, this is Will Berger, and I'm here with Faisal or Faisal?
Faisal.
Faisal what?
Alam.
Alam, and some very interesting things have been going on this week, and I've had the pleasure of taking part in some of them. I want Faisal to tell you what's going on mostly because, first of all, there's an iguana falling down the stairs, but besides that, some really interesting things going on. Faisal, what have you been doing this weekend?
Well, this weekend, Al-Fatiha, which is an international organization for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender Muslims, had their first North American conference at the Lesbian Gay Community Services Center, and we had a 3-day conference on focusing on the issues important to our community. So it's been really exciting this weekend.
Okay, now let me rewind there for a moment,
Okay.
Faisal. Al-Fatiha, and this is an organization of what?
It's an international organization of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender Muslims.
And is this a first? This sounds like Muslim, gay, bisexual, queer organizations.
There have been attempts to start queer organizations before, but 2 of them that we know of at least, and they've both gone underground because of various threats and things that they received from the mainstream community. So this is the first fully functional incorporated organization that we know of in the world that is doing this work.
And is this the first in America that's been doing work in America, or the others have done outreach in America also?
The two other groups, one was started in the mid-70s in San Francisco, and the other one was in Toronto.
Really?
Yes.
And what happened to the group in the 70s in San Francisco?
The group in the 70s actually was disbanded because members of their group ended up going back to their countries and they were actually assassinated, specifically after the Iranian Revolution. So obviously because of security concerns, they disbanded, and the group in Toronto went underground also because of similar threats.
Are you facing anything along these lines right now that you know of?
Not right now that we know of. A lot of our work has been focused in the queer community, and we're trying to just limit it to that. Obviously, in the Muslim community, issues of sexuality and homosexuality are extremely taboo, and the extremists in our society would like us not to be here, but we're hoping to change that.
Okay. Now, how did you manage to do enough outreach to get this conference together?
We have a listserv actually on the internet that has about 200 people on it from about 20 countries.
Aha, another subversive use of the internet.
Yes, another subversive use of the internet. Actually, a lot of our work is done on the internet, and we also work together with different local cultural groups. So we've been in touch with the South Asian Lesbian Gay Association as well as the Gay and Lesbian Arab Society, and they also have their own listservs. So, I mean, we've done a lot of our outreach that way, specifically for this conference as well.
Okay, now let's pretend I wasn't there yesterday, and I want you to tell me, or tell my people out there, what has gone on at this conference. It was fabulous, but let's pretend we don't know that, and Faisal's going to tell us about it.
Well, the conference was held, we had a lot of plenaries, obviously focusing on the specific issues and the theological debates of homosexuality within the context of Islam. And we also discussed various issues that affect the queer Muslim community, including coming out to family, finding a partner, HIV/AIDS, immigration asylum issues, as well as human rights in the context of and how they affect the queer Muslim community. So there was about 10 to 15 actually workshops and sessions that focused on various different topics. So it was really exciting.
So you have quite a few different issues to address here right away.
Exactly. We have multifaceted identities, and there's a lot of issues affecting our community, not just sexuality and religion. Being double minorities, especially in this country, we face a lot of the stigmas attached to Islam. And since there's a large immigrant population, there's also the issues of immigration, asylum issues, and since a lot of Muslim countries still persecute gay Muslims because of their sexual orientation. So we try to encompass all of those ideas into the conference.
Faisal, your group is a member of the Spiritual Rainbow?
Yes, actually, Hussein, who is one of the, a very active member of this, Al-Fatiha, is on the steering committee of Spiritual Rainbow. So we're excited that we've been able to get on the interfaith scene in the local New York City area.
And that would involve what? I mean, that would involve doing concurrent events, or just knowing what everybody else is up to, or do you know?
I'm not too familiar with what Spiritual Rainbow does. I know that they have regular meetings to talk to, basically, I think, coalition building of various denominations of Christianity as well as other religions of Judaism and Islam, and they're looking to expand their base to other religions as well, like Buddhism and the pagan community and Hinduism, I'm sure, also. So you'd have to speak with him about that, maybe in the another interview sometime on Spiritual Rainbow, but we are involved with Spiritual Rainbow, yes.
But in your vision of what your group might do and how you might work, what can you see doing with other groups, with other queer faith groups?
I definitely think that interfaith discussion in the GLBT scene is crucial for our cause. I say that Al-Fatiha is a progressive interfaith movement, in that we can learn a lot from each other, especially us from other organizations, including Dignity, who has been extremely supportive of this conference. In fact, they took out a half-page ad in our program, and I was very proud to have that in there.
Anything else you wanted to add?
Well, I just wanted to thank you for having us on the show. I think that's that's really wonderful in the spirit of interfaith dialogue. And other than that, I think if anyone wants more information, I guess we can. I don't know if we're allowed to give out a phone number,
I
or
think we
not?
can usually work something over. I point to about right here on the screen and something magically appears.
All right. Well, I mean, if they want, you can contact our New York office, which the phone number is 212-752-3188, or you can email us at gaymuslims@yahoo.com. And the Gay Muslims is one word, GAYMUSLIMS @yahoo.com.
Okay, you got that. Be in touch. And are you interested in hearing from people, from non-Muslim people also, who might have an interest in your group?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we call ourselves LGBTQ Muslims and Friends. So the Friends covers anything
Another
across
initial to add,
the
right?
rainbow. So
Good.
definitely, the support is always needed.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So, Dignity New York meets every Sunday evening. Mass begins at 7:30 and is followed by a social.
We meet at St. John's in the Village on the corner and just west of 7th Avenue. For more information, call on the screen.
And if you can't find a pencil,
Don't panic.
We're listed in the phone book under Dignity New York. So call us.
And watch us next month, same time, same station.
So, until next time, be proud you're Catholic.
And be proud you're gay. So long.
Now, here's a tune that's been right on the crest for time now. Kids?
Vaya con Dios, my darling.
Now the Hacienda's dark is sleeping. Now the time has come to part for weeping. Vaya con Dios, my darling. Vaya con Dios, my love. Now the village mission bells are softly ringing. If you listen with your heart, you'll hear them singing. Vaya con Dios, my darling.